On you.
Hello, you golfing legends. We are live.
Okay, Dan.
Hello.
So let's get this stuck in. Let's get this going. So welcome aboard THP Universe. Um, Today you've got myself, you got Dan, and we are going to cover everything having to do with the Bag Boy Championship, a brand new event. Super excited to be here for this one. And you know, Dan is everyone should know, and he hosts the original off course podcast that you should get every Friday. It should be part of your Friday ritual, and I'm super glad that he's joining me today. Um, Say hello, Dan, to the THP universe.
Hey, legends. What is
Oh my God,
happening?
so many legends.
Hey, I have a question
I
before you get this going.
Yes,
Can we spice this up really quick?
yeah. I mean, are you gonna you're gonna knock me off my mark like out of the gate before
Instantly,
I
yeah.
even?
Do you have
Mhm.
anything to bet with? Are you touch and felt at this point?
No, I only lost seven coins last time. And
Yes.
there was a lot of different things bet, and we'll get into the sports book and the betting. But no, no. I have not been felted. I heard that there is a felted situation that has occurred.
That should be an instant update as soon as the show starts. There should be like a ticker on on how many coins you still have, because I feel like there's side bets going on, prop bets, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot more bets. I've sort of been saving up a little bit because there's some like events coming up where you're going to get match bets, right? Like you're going to be this one is sort of just a stroke play event, and you have to pick a winner, and there's some props in there. But I wanted to make sure that bankroll management with my albatross coins was a key thing. So when we got to different events that had like a laundry list of things that I could bet, that I could just sprinkle some glimmer in there and go with that. Okay,
Okay.
let's roll. Let's roll on. So we're here to talk about the 2024 Bag Boy Championship, and let me stop and talk about Bag Boy a little bit. Awesome sponsor of this event. It we're gonna return to Ballyhack here, and that's why I'm wearing the Ballyhack hat. I love the place, and we'll talk about the course in a second. But I've used some of their product before, including the travel bag, which is like they have a wide selection of travel bags. The stand bag that these guys reviewed is actually on sale on their website right now for $70 off. So, like, if you're looking for a stand bag, that one with the super cool USA colorway, or that's the one that I would go with, America. But go check that out. Also, for you 14 way users out there, they do have a phenomenal hybrid 14 way bag, and it's also on sale right now. I think it's like $40 off right now. So go there, Push Cart Mafia. You know where to go. Y'all go visit Bag Boy. I appreciate them for letting us have this fun and sponsoring the event. Well, let's get it going. I mean, we're back here at Ballyhack, so let's talk about the course. Let's talk about the course. Um, really, it's my favorite. It's one of my favorite courses of all time. Okay, like, and we've been here a bunch. We don't have to go hole for hole to say how awesome this place is. It's got multiple tiered greens. It's a little bit tighter than say like where we saw last event at Briggs. It photographs extremely well. It just has a special place in my heart. And if you don't go for it on eight, like what are you even doing in this event? Okay, that little stretch on the front, 6, 8, and 9.
What about
Could,
six though?
I like six.
Well, you
I
said
like six.
what if you don't go for it on eight? What if you don't go for it on six? Do you really want to win the event?
Well, they're both. You can go for both of them. I think that eight's a little bit more exciting because if you go for it, it's absolutely blind where you have to aim it, and so when you're driving around, you're like, just please be up there, please be up there, please be up there, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's up there, and then everyone can celebrate, right? But yeah, I think the back is a little bit easier than the front, and we're gonna get some really tough scoring conditions. Dan, what do you think about Ballyack?
Well, the fact that I was there about 5 days ago or so, or a couple of days ago anyway. Uh, yeah, I mean it's. Let me set the stage. It's in phenomenal shape. I believe they have their member guest either ongoing currently or just finishing at this point,
Mm-hmm.
or very soon, which means no stones unturned. It's unsurprisingly in perfect condition to the point where these guys are going to have to play away from good shots and play away from scoring, which, is like a golfer's hobby at this point. So
Uh,
there's nothing but good things to say about the way the course is and will be set up
I think Josh just said that member guest finished today, right?
today.
So
Okay,
today,
perfect.
so it was over today. Do you have some favorite holes out there? I mean, everyone knows I love 8 and 9, but do you have and
Well, let
13?
me see if chat can figure it out. I want to see it in the chat. I'll show it up if they can guess my favorite hole out there. I don't know if Pumbaa's in the chat or not. He'll certainly let everyone know. But I've asked this question a lot over the last week, and I think one of the nice things is most feedback would suggest that it's like it's not so much what my favorite hole is. Sometimes it's like a favorite nine. Sometimes it's like, well, I love everything but this. It never seems to be a hole that's as a solid decision. It always seems like, well, it's this one, but
Mm.
I like these other four, and they start rattling off great moments. And there it is. My favorite is happens to be hole number 4, which is supposed to be the hardest on the golf course, but I found challenges elsewhere. Let's just say that.
Did you birdie it?
Which
Have you?
time?
I've only birdied 2 holes out there. Which time? So there was multiple birdies.
So
I only birdied
I
8
I,
and,
I
and
actually
13.
not including the frozen tundra we played it on. So if I only consider the two legitimate times I played there, which is I think four total rounds, I think I'm -4 through 4 rounds there on hole 4.
And which line did you take off the tee? I mean, as we have participants
Well, so
listed.
yeah, the funny part is it's a blind tee shot, which is like one of my least favorite things in golf.
Mhm.
But the way you have with the caddies and the feedback you'll get is everyone knows where to hit it, and if you don't know you're aiming off the house on the left, then you're not paying
Mhm.
attention. There's 2 bunkers that you can look at when you're playing 3 that you can see the line to the fairway, and there's just you really can't hit it far enough left what you think you should hit there. So
Very impressive. I birdied 13 and 8, and I
okay.
played probably. And I know we're not counting goat track birdies, but I had a couple of those. Okay, so let's just
Okay.
go from there. Awesome course. We have multiple threads on THP talking about this course. We go there an awful lot, and everyone loves it. Let's talk about the field here. So the median handicap of the field is really in line with what we normally see for these 2-man events. Um, it's 12. It's 12.3 is the median handicap of the field. Um, and so we're going to get basically what we normally see. But there's about 4 teams that we're going to talk about a little bit later. So they come in a little bit under. 4 teams coming a little bit over. Thoughts on like what type of team do you think can give this thing a run before we get into sort of the format, Dan?
Well, I think the format is a big part of the discussion, right? Like you can't treat the same type of player the same way depending on whether there's a best ball, whether there's shamble, whether there's alt shot. Um, there if you can't hide from your partner or you can't get carried that hard, obviously there's a different mentality here that needs to be considered. And for a golf course like Ballyhack, one of the most common things that was discussed this past week was, man, you can really hit some good shots here, but you could really play yourself into trouble, which I think is so true.
Yeah, I think that when we when we talk about the format here in a second, I've got some stats. I got some data. Everyone asking me where illiterate is. He's on a golf trip, dude. Like, so stop asking me where he is in the chat. What I think that this is sort of, there's certain profiles historically speaking that tend to do well, and we talked about this in the pre-show. We couldn't really figure it out because it is a handicapped event. It should be straight up even, but over the years, I've gone back to every time this sort of stroke play 2-man format is used, and there are profiles that have won, especially when and we'll just get right into it, especially when this is the sort of format. You see sort of high highs in like mid high pairings or even low high pairings do really well in the past, where we've only used like maybe Shamble Best Ball as the format through the entire event. But when we've included alternate shot and Shamble combined score, it's been totally different. It's been totally different. Hats off to the guys that played in Worldwide, because they actually lowered our historical average of when Shamble combined score is in an event. We're down to plus 12 being the average score for a team in Shamble combined score, and it comes in the last round. But you get a little bit of chance to get off to a hot start in Shamble Best Ball. You kind of have to survive alternate shot, and that sort of favors some of these profiles that we're going to be talking about a little bit later. And then you sort of have to survive and hang on in Shamble combined score. I guess I'll phrase this question. Like, what do you think the winning score in this type of format is going to be? Dang.
Oh, like overall?
Yeah. What do you think the overall?
That's the beauty, right? Like, even par looks so good on paper.
It does.
And here's why. With a place like Ballyhack, you can't hide from trouble. It kind of just finds you, and I think every team will find a little bit of trouble. It's a matter of what they can do from there. And what I love about it is, I mean, they're like, I'll give you an example. Hole number 5, like, it's all fun and games until you hit your second shot short, and then it comes up short again, and then you blade it over the green into the other bunker, and then, like, suddenly the world is just collapsing around you. And that score is counting. So your next shot, which you hit, it goes down the tier and suddenly starts threatening the fairway again, which is a climb down the hill. That's not even considering the fact that you have to walk down and perspire to get there. So, like, there are so many holes like that where, sure, yeah, your partner could be in great shape, but the second you remember that your ball counts too, like, dude, it's just going to change everything.
Even coming in, like, say you're coming in and trying to win this thing, right? Like, you could come up, like, you should take an extra club or maybe even hit it to the back number on 17 just to make sure that you don't bring, like, total disaster into play, right? Like, say the pin's sort of in the back and you come up short and you're down on that last tier, or worse yet, in that bunker, you could blade one over before you know it. Like, there's a max that occurs and you're trying to hang on and win. And then the tee shot on 18 is benign, but man, I've seen them put that pin.
You say it's benign until you see someone hit down number 12 hitting off 18, or down 18 hitting off number 12.
I never had a trouble with that tee shot. I did see some trouble with some of the tee shots, but man, that green is like, how it's sort of like got those two levels and then the sort of swell in the middle. And in the several days that I played it, they moved that pin around, and then that location on the front left is diabolical in my opinion, especially if you can't put it on the right level if you're trying to make a putt to get into this thing and get into the clubhouse, right?
Yeah, I just think there are plenty of holes where you're going to deal with that challenge of, you're going to hit it in the wrong place, and it's a matter of what you can do from there. And I know that, like, in a casual round, it's like, yeah, well, I'll see what I can do, and then I'll just keep it going, like all respectable golfers would do by respecting the pace of play. But in this case, when that score counts, like, I was in a bunker last week that I could barely see the tippy top of the green, or not the green, the pin, which I was like a maximum of 15 yards away from, maybe even 10 yards away from, to give you an idea of how deep those bunkers are. Like, that could be chaos for someone, especially when you're a little bit threatened by the fact that your score counts. But that's just a game changer.
Yeah, I think that in some cases against some of these teams, Ballyhack's going to win.
Oh yeah.
And
Well, Baliak's going to win at least one hole from every one of these guys. It's just a matter of how much punishment they're willing to take.
I will say this, like, like we had way better scoring at Worldwide than what we saw the last time that a two-man stroke play event came to Ballyhack. So if you didn't get enough blood a couple weeks ago, just hang on. Let's follow this one because I have a feeling that it's going to be. I don't know, like, I think +1 could win. I think that even par, absolutely. I think +1 gets you, maybe there's a playoff hole at +1 and even wins this thing. If you somehow get this thing to red numbers, you have done extremely, extremely well.
So I have a counter question for you.
Mm-hmm.
How much different do you think the leading score is from each segment of the event? Because we've got best ball, alt shot, shamble combined. How wildly different do you think the winning score from each segment's going to be?
I mean, I think that you're going to have to post this is shamble best ball. Last year we saw some really good best ball, just pure best ball scores here. Like you could get it to 7 or 8 in shamble as long as you got someone finding the fairway, I think. And some of these teams need to take it. And we'll talk about maybe their pop situation. Some of these teams are going to have to take advantage of their pops and probably build a number in that
early
first
and often, yeah.
Right. Alt shot here could get dirty. It really could. Because there could be a lot of, I hate, let me stop right there. I hate in alt shot when someone says they're sorry. So just don't do it. Just like, let's just go to the next place, hit it out of the heather, whatever you need to do to figure that out. That could vary. If you could get in alt shot somewhere around even, that would be phenomenal. Even 1 over would be super good there. And then shamble combined, it's a little bit of the same. I mean, the historical average is +12, but I mean, I think that if you could get in at like 4 over, 5 over, that will go a long way. What do you think about it? I think. It's
I think you nailed it on the head. I think it's going to look like a boat race through round 1. Ideally, 1 or 2 guys are going to get hot, and then they're going to realize the frozen transfusions and painkillers are quite delicious, and that's going to shift the story for round 2 a little bit. And there's always 1 or 2 of those guys. So there's that. And then there's the other side of it, like the guys who think they're totally out of it and they go ham on the frozen stuff, and then they just play lights out in alt shot for no good reason. And then suddenly we've got a game for the final round. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be funny to see how the different teams manage each one. And I think the handicaps are unique enough that we will see a variety of scores, and I'm excited for it.
So let's just start talking about the teams, right? Like,
let's do it.
And I know a lot of people have asked, so I'll just start right here. Hey, Swingley, but when I was at Ballyhack, the can transfusion was frowned upon. I'm sure that's still going to be a rule.
This isn't can, my friend. This is frozen. There's a difference. They've added a machine. You need to keep up.
I still would never drink one. Like after all of the grief I got for the can transfusion, I'm
okay. Well, they do have a raspberry beer for you, and I'm not saying that in a negative way. It's actually quite delicious, but it's only on tap. It's a local one. You should definitely check it out if you're there.
I'll be back.
But settle down. That's all I'm saying. Settle down.
With calm and combustible, I'll be back.
There you go.
Come October. Let's talk about these guys. Okay. The artist formerly known as Much Thor. Oh,
Much Thor.
and so I don't know. I love them all the time. And yes, they're gonna go off. They went off as a 2-1 favorite last year. You're not getting a discount because of what happened last year. They go off at 8-5. So basically, 5 pays 8. So you're paying a little extra vig. In 2-1, when we get to those, it's one pace two. I
I don't know what
kept
the hell you're saying right now. What?
No, they know. They know. The degenerates know, Dan. The degenerates know. We're talking about coins. I
Okay,
got a lot
okay,
of messages this
okay.
week because this one's going to be a little bit harder to hedge. Okay, and I gave some discounts for some rookies last time, and I almost bankrupted the book. Okay,
Okay.
um, with the 8-1 with a low mid pairing and an 8-1 paying. Um, yeah, there were some questions about the odds maker. There were some questions being asked. This you're going to see a little bit of a tighter situation because I'm going to make it a little bit harder to hedge, and I'm not going to give discounts. But let's talk about this team. They come in as a full 7 strokes lower than the median average. Okay, so you get a low pairing here. They played together at a granddaddy. They played together at a budget. Like this is sort of the third time that we've seen them arrive in an event together. I don't normally like low pairings when I'm handicapping these things because they don't get a whole lot of pops. But this team should have the ability to survive the 2 harder formats, right? But last time we saw them, they went 5 over an alt shot, plus 13 in shamble combined.
We don't like 5 over an alt shot, or it doesn't count for them. You expect better.
Well,
I think 5 over alt shot is great for anyone. I don't care what your handicap is.
I'm expecting if you have a low pairing and you're not gonna get a ton, like you're not gonna ton of pops.
Let me flip this on its head then. What happened last year to them? And the way you're describing it right now was a huge letdown, right? We all got on board. They had the fancy logos and the colorful pinks and blues and the golf balls, and we all got the parade going early. It's practically like talking about the LA Dodgers. You expect them to win, and then they don't. Some of us laugh, some of us cry, and some of us hope for better next year. In this case, I think this is the time. I think they know what to expect. They know what is good and bad about each other's games, and they've got nothing but themselves to convince they're going to win this year.
Look, I love them. I think everyone loves them. In fact, I will say this: according to Lord Docs, the sports book, it would be a very bad outcome for an Anime Gods win.
According to who?
Lord Tox.
Oh, Lord Talks. That's the guy who obsesses over blue all the time, like a weirdo.
Yeah, that weirdo. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not worried about what he thinks. Forget him.
No, it would be a very bad outcome for the sports book if they were to win.
Fine.
Right?
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
Sure. That's the way it goes, though, right?
Over half the handles in on them.
Well, and rightfully so. You've got a low and a low with chemistry and camaraderie coming out each other's ears. At a place they've seen before in conditions that are scoreable. I mean, really, it's theirs to lose.
Okay, well, that's why they go off at 8-5. You're not getting a discount on them, but I just get a little nervous because I've never not loved them, right? And I've always, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the cooler for them. I need to stop like showering them with love and then sort of try to fade them, and then they may do something.
Well, I guarantee you're not picking them this year just by the way you're talking. So
look, we don't know what my pick is yet.
We'll see.
They're a favorite. They should be able to survive the harder formats and not lose when they should be gaining strokes on the field. Is in alt shot and shamble combined. Do you not agree?
We'll see.
Okay.
But yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Canadan blue, by the way. KY golfer Chris, just so you know.
Canadan blue. I heard that on the podcast this morning.
Every color is Canadan blue.
Let's talk about the Aquaman. Very interesting pairing here, because this is like the profile that I really, really like. Usually in this, where you get a low and a mid, and they usually make runs in this type of event. they could hang at the top of the leaderboard for a little while. You get TTU. Um, the last time we saw TTU was at the rivalry where he was beating Captain Maynard. Played really, really well. That was match play. This is stroke play. And he catches a rookie here in Nasty one. And yeah, usually I like to give sort of a little bit of a discount on the line to rookie experience. But if you look at the way that the rookies have performed this year, thank God that the casino wasn't open or the sports book wasn't open during the Goat Cup, or I'd already be felted. I would have shoved all of those coins in on us on Team Finley against those four rookies on the other team. I would have absolutely been felted. Rookies have performed great. You get the same profile that we just had the last two-team winner. You get a low, you get a mid, you get a rookie that we don't know a whole lot about. You're not getting a discount here. I'm going to make you pay a little extra vig to bet them. They go off at 6-5. Dan, what's your thoughts on Aquaman?
Yeah, a rookie in experiences, but a familiar name on the forum.
Yeah.
And throughout other things. So I think this is a really interesting pairing. What will be likely my most common perspective when it comes to a low and a mid is what is the value of the low and what is the inability of the mid to get to that mid handicap? Is it a balance or is it like a particular component of their game? Because if it's like, I'm a mid handicap because my driver's all over the place, well, then we're thriving because we're going to go easier shots and alt shot off the tee. And then we're going to go shamble is going to take the powerful low caps tee-ball. So really it's only the combine you got to worry about a little bit, but even that is in a good place. So that's the question. Where is the deficiency for them to be not quite at zero? That's the question.
TTU has been working hard. There's, we got his journey to scratch thread. Of course, when I was looking through it, he's getting a whole lot better. My main concern is that I'm a little bit familiar with that part of Tennessee and some of the places that he normally plays. It's not Ballyhack. So
well, there's not many places that are Ballyhack.
Well, there isn't. I'm looking forward to this. I think that they could make a run. They fit the right profile to make a run. And if they could keep the wheels on the ground, I think that they could be there right until the end and sort of sneak up on people, no doubt. Speaking of sneaking up on people, or potentially costing people coins, here's First and Fun, and I love everything about them, really. My man Josh.
Why are you mumbling that out? Do you feel bad saying that?
No, I don't feel bad saying it.
It was almost like he whispered that to the closet across the room. Like, what just happened?
No, listen. Josh and Dean show up here, right? Josh and Dean, they've played together a bunch. They've won in similar event at this very course. Here at Ballyhack. Came from 3 back on the second day to win by 1.
Okay.
They know how to get it done, but it wouldn't be an event or an experience without like an injury concern from Josh. So
I was going to ask you, there's always a conversation like, do you age well like a fine wine, or do you age like an old tuna fish sandwich? and you mentioned their success there over the year. Absolutely agreed with you. In prime shape, prime condition, maybe even close to the middle of summer when Dean actually plays golf, I think there's a really good story here. I think they are unbelievably good together. It just depends on what, how, where, and why. And I mean, he's in the chat. We got to know how that wing's doing because that's a big part of the story.
I think he's gonna look.
He's gonna heal himself. So.
No, I'm hopeful that he attempts to gut this out. I know that he hasn't swung a club since he decided to pull out at Worldwide at Briggs. There is concern, and that's why it's sort of baked into this number, right? Like, we don't get a live betting option at our sports book on THP, so like it's not like you can have you have bet First and Fun and then run to the window and get live and try to live bet your way out of it. I mean, if you have him and they sort of and he withdraws, then those coins are gone.
So so he mentioned earlier today that he went from curling a pillow with his right arm to curling a 7-iron with his right arm. Someone's already asking for what a curl capacity is currently. Is it like a ZTF bag, or is it like, is the ZTF bag full or empty when you curl it? Like, we need to know.
There's concern, right? There's concern whether or not he plays or not, right? So you know, if he does, I like them because he's not the type of person that has to hit a bunch of balls, get into a full lather. Like he can usually just sort of show up and play his normal game. And we know Dean's going to be game, right? Like so, there's a lot to like here with First and Fun. I think.
We've got some feedback here. It says we have an update and you're allowed to share it. So,
Yeah, I do have an update, but I was trying to keep it to myself before I got my coins in. You know, so Josh is gonna he's gonna get some rest, and then he's gonna give this he's gonna try to swing some clubs, potentially by Sunday, and we're gonna give this a go. He thinks he's gonna try to give this a go. What was his exact words? Hold on. His exact words was like he's gonna rest all day tomorrow. He'll try some putting, some light chipping on Sunday. So like he's gonna try to get some feel back. And then if that all goes pain free, he's putting tee in the ground on Monday and trying to win this thing. Let's go.
okay.
Okay. Wow. Am I the only one? I'm the only one super excited about them, right?
I can't wait for him to not have to go to these unbelievably beautiful golf courses and watch everyone else play. Like, that has to be torture. He might say it's not, but I know it's got to suck walking around these perfect courses and not being able to play. Like, we're all gutted for him.
So let's talk about Dynamic Duo, the sponsor here, okay, from Dynamic Brands. And we talked about, hey, go to the website, bags, push carts, the whole 9 yards. I heard some good things also about the shoe bag. I already can say nothing but good things about the travel bag. I've used that travel bag. I have one of those. It's great. There's like 3 different kinds. I think I have like the 750. But yeah, they come in at 2.7 strokes lower than the median average. This is sort of the type of lowish, high pairing 7 and 18 that could do what you were mentioning earlier, Dan. They could get out and post a big, nice, juicy red number in shamble best ball and then sort of hold on until the end. What are your thoughts on Dynamic Duo?
Yeah, that's the challenge, right? Is you end up having a very similar conversation with the exception of the gap is a little bit larger between the two. Not so low of a low and not so mid of a mid. And I mean, look, this is one of those things where you can walk away saying, hey, I see why they're at this handicap, or you can walk away saying, I want an audit and I'm very cranky. And the other part of it is they're there to have a great time too. And they've been there before. They've felt these emotions before. So I think, the chance of them coming up, showing up and playing, here's the truth. When you get in golf, you play less golf, right? So when you get into the golf industry, you play less golf. So there's a good chance that those are very strong numbers that are just sort of maintained slowly over the course of years. So, I mean, who knows, man?
Yeah, look, we've seen Greg here before, right? I mean, he not with Perry, but we've seen him, and he played really well in spots as a member of the Vatican in the past, and in a couple other spots that we've seen him play here. I do think this is why you're not getting a discount with them. I do think that this is the type of pairing that could post. When we talked about 7 under earlier, they could be the one that posts 7 under. And then if everything sort of breaks their way, they could be there right there until the end. Right there until the end. And no one would be shocked. They go off at 2-1. That means, if you bet 1, you get paid 2 on them. And then we're going to move on to the next team, Smoked Charcuterie. LSMO 6.7. Kiwi Chris at a 15.5.
We're just taking a second on some of these names. Like, have they already won on name alone? Like, what are we doing here?
This look, if we were going to have a power ranking of the names of the teams, this
How
is
do we
right
not?
up there. This is right up there. Like, I mean, they would actually go off at 9-5 if we were just using. If we were picking teams like Leslie picks horses, this is absolutely, um, this is absolutely a team that she would pick, right? So they so they're the last of the teams with the historical profile of a potential winner. Okay, they also come in at 2.7 strokes lower than the median average, and so we sort of see a little bit of a low mid pairing again here. They may have the best value on the board simply because they kind of go off at 3-1, and if LSMO can play a little bit better than he did in that Morgan Cup appearance, I do think that they could also make a run here. Thoughts on this team, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, phenomenal team name, awesome logo, very well done. But you sort of hinted at a little bit of pass there, and I mean, it could go one way or the other. You got something to prove, or you got something to prove, or you're going in there thinking, man, not again. What does it look like?
Well, I mean, for someone that deals with demons when he shows up to these things, sometimes I can say, like, if things don't like start off well, then there could be some momentum that being built. Like, hey, this is not going to happen to me again. But the second that something starts getting sideways, a loose shot, a miss swing, for me, it can be a disastrous sort of hillside miss, and all of a sudden I start having, like flashbacks of different times that's occurred to me before. I couldn't keep the ball into play. Let's see how it goes. Okay, like like this is a new thing. You have a partner in this one that seems like he. I researched this post. I tried to figure out like a little bit how he was playing. He seems to be. He's going to provide a little bit of a steady hand, and I think that they could be the sleeper pick. They probably provide you the best value on the board, especially in the contest where they're getting some action. But you're getting 2.7 strokes lower than the median average, and they're not getting as much action as anime, right? So like if you're looking to try to win the contest, or even maybe try to hedge, bet with some coins, this is not a bad place to be at 3-1.
I think this is a comeback story. I think they play well. And I also think that's why they put the bar in the middle of the golf course here, where you can salvage something at the turn with libation rather than, your own common sense.
Let's move on. I got merch from them. Okay, so I can be bribed with merch. Packing Chowda. I don't know if I pronounced Chowda right.
Chowda.
Lambo,
you gotta get a little action in it, man. Come on.
Chowda. Okay.
I gotta go. We'll see.
Lambo, 10.8. Mikey D, 22.5. They go off at 5-1. You could. This is the first team on the board that's higher than the median average at 4.4 strokes higher. When you look at sort of these mid-high pairings, they have not fared well historically in this type of format. They have to find finding fairways is going to be a premium at this place. If they can find fairways, make their pops count, they could survive to the end, because if they can find fairways when the getting's good and maybe shamble best ball and maybe survive the alternate shot sesh, then they could get to the end potentially, because they're going to get a bunch of pops on day two. The problem is can they still keep themselves in it before they get there, right?
So I think these are the types of groups that you start to shift your conversation away from can you gel well enough to can you utilize your pops enough? There's interesting discussions over the last week, especially about Ballyhack when it comes to managing your misses. I think that is very much a manage your miss golf course in a lot of holes. And it's also like a hold on for dear life for the false or the forced carries. There are a couple holes where you simply can't get around it. It is what it is. And there are a couple holes where you can sort of navigate the course and maybe slide one up around the bunker instead of going over it, where they can start to use these pops as to their advantage. Maybe they don't go for it the way they normally do. Maybe they focus on, well, let's just stay out of trouble as much as we can. Let's hit for the fattest part of the fairway or the fattest part of the green. I think they can find ways. Again, it just falls down to what is their flaw, what helps them get to the number they are, and what are their deficiencies.
Well, this course off the tee, there are certain holes in certain places that you don't need to hit driver. You can take less to driver. You can put it. I mean, the caddy's going to tell you, like, look, if you don't want to hit driver here, aim it right here, hit your hybrid, and at least you'll be in play, and you have a shot at the fairway. They're going to have to play smart golf, right? And I think the next couple of teams, maybe they can play some smart golf. Maybe they can maneuver themselves around, like you said. They go off at 5-1. Everyone loves the name, and I wouldn't be surprised if they get a lot of action with the handle.
I love it.
Yeah. Also at 5-1 is Matcha Latte. Look, T-Dre and Wazoo Brute. Okay. Again, it's very similar. Here's another mid-highish sort of profile. They're also around 4 strokes higher than the median average. There is a path. You just sort of laid it out that you have to play well. They're going to have to find fairways. They could be like one of these teams that gets hot and starts sort of ham and egging it and start using their pops together. And then before you know it, there's train wrecks that occur in Shamble combined, and they do a really good job and get there at the end. What do you think about them, Dan?
I think I love it when you get worried about how you're pronouncing something. You sort of speed up your commentary. Like you just zip through it in case no one heard you. Listen,
okay.
These are healthy caps, man, and I think it all circles back to, can you live in the right moment? Are you comfortable on the grass? Do you see the shots as they're made up, or do you see an invisible line and it just gets in your head? Do you see your ball land in the middle of number 3 green and you need it to go left and it goes right? Like what? I watched a guy hit the very middle of hole 3 green 4 days ago, and it went all the way to the front right of the green to where he had like 100-foot putt. And sure, you can practice that all you want in the dewy nights under the lights, but that's crushing to anyone who's trying to score. It's not an easy thing to say, okay, now I got to putt this up over a hill, back down to the other side of it, and try and salvage anything I can out of this hole. So yeah, I mean, it's just about keeping it in front of them and understanding that their hits are going to hit, and they can score where they can score, and that's the best thing I can say.
Yeah, look, there are places on this course that even if you're not on the right level, even if like you hit 2 good shots and you're not on the right level, it's absolutely gonna bring probably maybe bogey and potential double into play, right? Like it depends. Like if you don't have the speed right,
yeah.
I'm assuming that the greens are running really, really fast.
No, they're not bad at all. But okay, let me set the stage, okay? So for those who've been living under a rock and haven't had a chance to experience Ballyhack and a THP experience there, the first hole is not particularly liked because it's a fairly benign up the hill par 4 that's a little bit shorter. But I think it's a nice starting hole because it lets you get on a fairway, feel the grass, hit up to an elevated green, and try and sneak away with an easy par. I think that's a very realistic number 1 score. Then you get up on number 2 and you can see the majority of the property with the exception of probably 5 or 6 holes in the back 9. And you look down and you can land 7 jumbo jets in the area in which you can hit your drive. And yet we heard a story earlier on this week about a guy who managed to miss the entire property left with his driver off number 2. Yes, you're using your brain. It doesn't make sense. You know that road that goes off
Yeah.
on the left?
Yeah.
It's like that. So here's my recommendation to the guys who are in there. Blast away on number 2 and see what happens. And if you don't like what you see, rethink it for number 4.
So let's get to the last of the teams. Turian Purple, Bus, and Delula. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Delula?
Delucha? Delu something. You know what? When he was in the Morgan Cup, I pronounced this right and forgot how to pronounce it. Doesn't matter. He's super cool.
I think he matters.
Well, I mean,
let's take the time and really try and sound it out, Daxie.
Delula. I don't know that the TEH sound has got me. And we're already overtime. Just let me get to their preview.
Go ahead.
It's a ha-ha pairing. It's the highest combined cap in the field. They're 10.4 strokes over the median average. This is the highest sort of deviation between a team and the median average in the history of the two main events. Bus is going to have to carry some of the water here, being the low cap, and they're going to have to get off the tee and try to make them count. Is there a path like this? Look, we've had several other teams with this profile. I'm trying to get to the end. Like, you're laughing, but
no, keep going. You're doing great.
I just think that, is this the time? Like, is there a first time for everything? It hasn't happened. Like, there's a graveyard of teams of high pairings that have come in where you're like, hey, well, I mean, look at this card. It's like got dots everywhere. They could really make a run, and it doesn't usually happen. Like, you know, the people, and I could name a couple of others that it didn't happen for. Is this the time that it finally happens? They go off at 6-1. They're the longest underdog on the board. What do you think, Dan?
I think these are one of the fun pairings where it's like you guys go out and just find a way. Show me something super interesting. Steal every point you can get and use every pop you need. I love it. I love the idea of having a couple larger caps combined. You know they don't have any pressure because they both probably familiar with that kind of game. They just get to go and have fun and take full advantage of those little dots in the card, which I think are terrifying. So
let's get to final predictions. Let's get this going. I mean, I did get picks from Scooby, who we'll see on Monday, for Quest Cup. Scooby's gonna go with with smoked charcuterie, and he likes that he's going basically on the name, and he also thinks that that they could be the best value on the board. Illiterate likes Aquaman in this spot. Who do you like?
Wasn't there a tie last year? What?
There wasn't a tie, Dan.
Was there not?
There wasn't a tie.
Huh. Well, I had a big plan for this, and I'm not opposed to it, but then I got a ring at my door today, and I feel like I'm obligated. Boom.
Canadan's pick. It's in. He picks Anime Gods.
My boys.
Yeah, I mean, and I like that pick. I think it's a really good pick. There's multiple redemption stories that you could weave throughout the attach that this entire event could provide, right? That we could attach here. I'm going to make my pick, and you probably could guess it when I was talking about the teams. My official pick is...
Wait. I want to see if someone can guess it in the chat for you. Who did Daxie pick? Someone says, don't do it, Dax. You got 10 more seconds. Come on. Someone's going to pick it. Someone's got to guess it. First and fun. First guess. Are they right?
Yeah, it was already on the screen.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah,
It's right there.
I didn't know. It's already on.
It's right behind my camera.
It's already on the screen.
Wow.
I like them. I like them a lot. I think that Josh could absolutely pull a Willis Reed and just come off the bench and play here and make a run. I like them both. I think that this mid fits the right profile. And look, if there are some other options on this board. I'm going to have to take probably maybe a combo of them and Aquaman together. I'm not going to be able to make a run on this because we still don't know whether or not Josh is going to play, and I want to have some action in there. I don't want to have just forfeit all my coins. So those are our picks. So any final thoughts before I cut the universe loose?
So you say you had a backup pick? I missed that.
Yeah, if my backup pick would be anime, I would also pick anime here.
Okay.
But it's very hard. Here's the thing: it's very hard to lay that much big at 8-5 and still get paid off if Josh and them also don't play. Right.
You know what I love about you? The level of homerisms just don't exist because it matters more to you being right about a bet than it would ever to support your boys. So you clearly think there's something good going on between JB and D-Deck this week.
Yeah, I think that he plays, and if he plays, you kind of have to like them, right? I think that he's going to play. If he doesn't play, if he doesn't play, then I think that it's probably a two-team race between Anime and Aquaman. So pick your poison, but you're also going to have to pay there to take either of those teams a little extra. You're not even getting even money on Aquaman. You're paying 6-5 there. You're paying 8-5. So it's super hard to hedge if you still bet first and fun and then attempt to take one of the two odds-on favorites. There's not a lot of coins to be had, and that's my dilemma here. That's my dilemma here. Right?
Yeah, because I kind of had you as an Aquaman kind of guy. I
had a bunch of stuff. I had this. They sent me teas. I didn't get a towel from them. I got teas and stickers. So let me cut the THP first. Listen, join us Monday night. We'll be back. We're gonna get a live update from Dean. The Dean of THP is going to jump on as we come on and talk about Quest Cup, but we're going to get a live update after day one from the Bag Boy Championship from the Dean of THP himself. So join us Monday night and get stuck in and watch this. It's going to be a super fun follow. Dan, do you have anything else before I send them home?
I'm just going to say I love it. I can't wait for the folks the boys to enjoy Ballyhack. I think it's going to be in pristine condition. I can't wait to see all the photos online. I know you guys are going to pump the thread full of entertaining stuff. And yeah, this is fun. Thanks for having me on. I thought it was blacklisted, but I'm back.
No, you're back. You're back. You're back to making picks. You committed on the podcast today that you would make the correct picks when the Morgan Cup show comes up.
Yeah, buddy, Hackers Blue for sure.
All right. THP Universe, y'all have an awesome weekend, and I'll see you on the forum.
See you, boys.
Thanks, guys.